OpenAI. To you, to me, to pretty much everyone, they look totally invincible, right? I mean, this is the company that kickstarted the whole AI revolution. They're backed by Microsoft. They've got hundreds of millions of users. But here's the thing. Behind that incredible success story, the company is actually in some serious trouble. So let's peel back the curtain and see what's really going on.
So on one side, you have the public perception, this dominant, world-changing company that can't be stopped. But on the other side, well, the reality is a completely different story. We're talking about staggering financial losses, an exodus of the very people who built the technology, and costs that are just spiraling out of control. So how on earth did they get here? It all starts with this one fundamental misunderstanding. AI, it doesn't operate like normal software. In fact, the economics of it are completely backward, totally upside down. And that is the root of this entire crisis. Okay, so the core of the problem is something called scaling laws. Now, think of it like this. In the normal software world, right, you build a product once, and then you can copy it 1,000,000 times for basically free. With AI, to make the model just a little bit smarter, you have to spend exponentially more money on computing power. The costs are just unforgiving. It's almost like a law of physics. To put some real numbers on these costs, let's just get a baseline. Training GPT-4, the model that really kicked off this whole AI craze, that cost about $100 million. And that's just for one single training run. Now that's a huge number, but you might think, okay, they're backed by Microsoft, maybe they can make that work. But remember those scaling laws? The costs don't just stay there. The very next generation of models, they're projected to cost over $1 billion per training run, each one. I mean, that is more than the entire economic output of some small countries just to train one AI model one time. It's insane. And the hardware they need to run all this stuff, it's not a long-term investment. It's more like a treadmill they can't get off of. The super expensive chips that power these models become obsolete every 18 to 24 months. So those billions you spend on hardware aren't building any real value. They're just buying you temporary relevance before you have to spend it all over again. And this all leads to projects on a scale that is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. There's a planned AI supercomputer called Project Stargate. The estimated cost? $500 billion. That's not a business expense anymore. We're talking nation-state level spending.
And to really let that number sink in, just look at this. For the cost of this one computing facility, you could build nearly the entire US interstate highway system from scratch, adjusted for today's money. One of the biggest infrastructure projects in human history, for one computer. Now, this level of spending raises a pretty crucial question. Where is all this money actually going? And it's worth pointing out that the CEO, Sam Altman, has personally invested in companies like Helion Energy and Rain AI, companies that are perfectly positioned to benefit from OpenAI's massive infrastructure needs. Is it just visionary thinking, or is it a conflict of interest? The questions are definitely getting louder.
But believe it or not, the financial pressures are only half the story. The internal foundation of the company itself has been rocked by chaos, betrayals, and a full-blown identity crisis. You see, a huge chunk of Microsoft's so-called investment isn't actually cash. It's cloud credits, which is basically a giant gift card for their own servers. So the money just goes in this circle, from Microsoft to OpenAI and right back to Microsoft's revenue reports. It looks great on paper for Microsoft, sure, but you can't pay multi-million-dollar salaries with a server gift card. And this all just exploded in November of 2023. In 5 absolutely chaotic days, the board fired the CEO, over 700 employees threatened to walk out, Microsoft jumped in and offered to hire every single one of them, and then the board was forced to completely reverse its decision and resign. It was a complete meltdown, a near-death experience that showed just how unstable things were at the very top.
And in the aftermath of that coup, the key talent started walking right out the door. And we're not talking about junior engineers here. We're talking co-founders, chief scientists, the absolute architects of the technology. And now they're leaving, some to go straight to their biggest competitors.
When Jan Lake, the company's former head of safety, resigned, he did not go quietly. He put out a public statement that gave a voice to this growing fear that the company had just lost its way. He said, safety culture and safety processes have taken a back seat to shiny products. Oof.
And really, this is the end result. OpenAI started as a nonprofit. Its whole mission was to protect humanity from profit-driven AI. And now, it's in the process of becoming a standard for-profit corporation, a move demanded by its investors. The original mission seems to be completely gone.
Now, while all of this internal drama was unfolding, the world outside didn't just stand still. OpenAI is now completely surrounded by competitors, and it's caught in this strategic vice that is squeezing them from every single angle.
A Chinese lab called DeepSeek just dropped an absolute bombshell. They created a model that rivals GPT-4's performance for, get this, just $5.6 million, compared to OpenAI's $100 million. This one achievement completely undermined OpenAI's entire strategy, the idea that you have to outspend everyone to win.
So, at the exact same time, you've got Meta releasing powerful models for free, which basically puts a ceiling on what OpenAI can even charge. You have Anthropic, founded by their own former safety experts, running a leaner operation. And then, of course, there's Google, which has basically unlimited money and is actively trying to recruit away their best people. They're getting squeezed from all sides.
And there's this silent killer hiding in their finances. It's called inference cost. You see, every single time you or I ask ChatGPT a question, it costs OpenAI real money in electricity and computing. So the more popular their product gets, the more cash they actually burn. It's this insane backward problem where they actually lose money on their most active paying customers.
So with costs just absolutely spiraling, competitors closing in from every direction, and a fundamentally broken business model, what's the plan? Well, it's not really a plan. It's a single, desperate, all-or-nothing gamble to try and outrun a complete financial collapse.
Their only real hope is to be the first to build artificial general intelligence, AGI, a machine that can think and reason just like a human. Their bet is that if they can build that, its value will be so immense, so world-changing, that it'll make all these billions in losses totally irrelevant. But if that AGI timeline slips even a little bit, they're finished.
So, with the clock ticking and the money running out, what is the most likely endgame for the company that started this entire revolution?
Well, it's probably not going to be some big, dramatic bankruptcy you see on the front page of the news. It's much more likely to be a quiet absorption. The most probable outcome is that OpenAI will be forced to sell itself to the only company on Earth that can actually afford its bills, Microsoft. And with that, the pioneer's independence will officially be over. In the end, the company that literally called itself OpenAI, the one that was founded to protect humanity from the dangers of corporate greed, is on track to be completely consumed by it. It's not just a business story, really. It's a warning. A warning about who will ultimately get to control the most powerful technology our species has ever created.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your opinion in the comments and tell me which topic you'd like me to talk about next. The comment with the most likes will be turned into a video.